What's going on, YouTube family? So today, guys, I want to talk about something that's really, really heavy on my heart, and something that perhaps is the reason why you guys haven't seen me in a while, not as frequently as you used to. And so today, I'm talking about why I stopped making content consistently, right? Especially on YouTube, right? So, guys, let's kind of to explain how we got here today. Um, I want to kind of give you guys go back to the genesis of this and kind of walk you guys through my journey, right? So I started my whole online journey, to be honest with you guys, late 2022. My academy where I started coaching people started off in 2023, and prior to that, I didn't have a YouTube presence. I really didn't wasn't big on social media. My Instagram probably only had 3, 4, 5,000 people on it or less. Um, and so a lot of this stuff kind of just started and went really super quick for me, right? And I got into that grind from day one, just creating nonstop. For those of you guys maybe watching this, maybe you've tried to start a digital business, or maybe you got a content creators one way or the other, and you know what I'm talking about. You know the grind, the requirements where you got to keep putting out content, otherwise algorithm won't push your stuff as much, right? So we chase that virality, it's that keep chasing that goal of going viral. It's never enough that hit, right? And so you find yourself on that hamster wheel where you've got to put out content every single day, and then and the expectations just keep on. Is that all of a sudden? And don't forget this, like I said, I didn't even have social media a few months prior to doing that, right? And then starting off in the early 2022, I barely had a social media presence, but then all of a sudden you go from that to you get thrust into this world where the expectation is that you know it's almost like we're TV stars all of a sudden, right? That's the expectation, right? Like, and that's and in the education, you have to catch up. And this is one business where you have to wear so many hats, so many hats. Like car runners is easy. I can do that in my sleep. Then, but then this part of it, this part of coaching, it's a whole different ballgame, right? You have to know not only just the coaching and how to teach and all of that, but then just for the content part of it, you need to be the producer, the editor, the sound the sound guy, the script or the copywriter creating the script. It's just so many hats that one person has to wear, and you still have to be the performer, right? So then, unlike movie stars and TV stars and musicians, rappers, content creators have to show up every single day on it. Unlike to say if you're in a TV show, once the season is over, you go rest for a while and then come back next season two. Or a movie star, movies are once every year or 2 years or whatever the cadence is for that. We have to show up every single day. And then as if that's not good enough, the perfection chart just keeps going higher and higher and higher. Right. Because now you're seeing the likes of Mr. Beast that is saying he puts out, I think he said he puts out, was it 50 or 500 pieces of content a day? It was something ridiculous. Right? How? Right? Like the average person can't do that, right? But then people start to compare, um, and then it's like, well, I remember my first YouTube video, guys. Just go scroll all the way back down, and my first YouTube, I was in my warehouse in the poker room in the back, and finished having a drink with a cigar, and it's like, you know what? Let me just shoot a random video. I didn't care about lighting, none of that stuff. All I did, I just fumbled around on my phone and put it on a little tiny cheap tripod, and I just shot the video. I didn't even know I needed a mic or anything. So innocent. It was just, and it was one of the rawest stuff I ever made, right? And but then I enjoyed doing it more then, right? I enjoyed doing that more. And you start to see then the transition starts happening where, okay, I'm playing around with having a green screen thingy behind me and lights on them, and you're messing out all this stuff. And then it's just getting better. And they tell you you can't use a phone. The phone is, it's not the quality enough, or your mic isn't better. You gotta go get a more expensive mic, and you go start investing in $1,000 cameras. I have a camera in front of me here that's cost me almost $2,000, over 2,000 with the lens, almost 4,000 total. I've never used it once. It's because it's so convoluted. I can't really bother to try to go read the manual to figure out how to use this thing, right? But that's the grind of this business, right? The quality of the content has to keep improving. Like with these YouTube videos, once again, go back and see my earlier videos. I just jump right into it and giving you guys the content that's the sauce you guys want. Now it's the intro, the lower thirds, and the outro, and the cutscene, and the this and the that, and the suspense, then the cliffhanger, and it's just too much stuff that I'm sorry, guys. I just it starts to become a lot, right? And then the quality of the edit, right? Now it's just not good enough for me to just shoot it, maybe trim out my ums and ahs of places where I just had a brain fart and or I guess that's not good enough anymore. Now it's just the editing is just so advanced now. It's B-roll in and all kinds of stuff in it. And it gets really complicated, right? It gets really complicated. And then in chasing that perfection, now you start having to bring in like a whole team, right? To help you with all of that stuff, right? And to help you with editing. And a lot of that is what starts to cause issues where, the friction we have to overcome just to put out one video, it becomes a lot, right? And so the thing is that this grind algorithm, in feeding this algorithm, it requires volume, right? But then we're still human, guys, and volume causes burnout, right? Burnout is real. A lot of us creators, you can't, you can only put out so many pieces of original content, right? And I'm in the niche where there's not a lot of people. And a few out there, majority of them don't say ish. They don't talk about nothing. They compare most of their videos in mine. Most of them give out no information whatsoever. It's very few of them that actually go as deep as I do, right? It's just surface level that, hey, buy this car, and this is why this car is a good buy, or some random stuff. Well, hey, here's how much I made in Turo today, right? It's not a lot of them that have depth to what they're doing, so they can pump out a lot of this fluff out there, and that's fine. But for me to be able to go as deep as I do, it causes burnout, right? It's especially when you're trying to keep up the volume. When the expectation is that you need to do at least 3 to 5 videos per week, that's a lot. That's a lot, right? And then here's what that forces you to do, right? Now you're chasing that volume. Then what you start doing is not only do you get burnt out, then and you start to go higher. So then the next step for me was, okay, I need help. I can't do this alone. So you start looking to outsource. And also we get so many people that DM us on Instagram and offering their services, right? To either help us manage our YouTube channels, they'll script it and all of that, edit videos for you. Same thing with Instagram, they'll script and edit your Instagram videos. And it sounds a temptation, especially when you're burning out. You've got, don't forget, this is just one tiny aspect of my business, though it's a very key aspect of the business. It's just one small aspect of it, right? And so you've got a ton of other things to do, right? So you'd happily want to try to outsource this. And I don't want to because it's such a key part of the business because I really need people to get the messaging right. The messaging has to be right. That I want to convey a certain thought. And an outsider that's never done this business can't just come up with a script. At least so I thought, right? And so for me, I was like, "Ah, what the heck? I'll give it a try." And then first you bring on people to help manage your pages, right? So they're responding to comments or they're helping do the editing and posting. And then what you find out is, and some of you, I'm even guilty of that, and I have to apologize for that. You see some of my recent videos, I call them AI fluff, Chat GPT slop, right? Because these guys will come up with these scripts and yeah, maybe on the surface level it makes some sense, but it's not really as like as deep or I could tell just listening to them, like listening back to them. It's not my best work. I'm not very I don't not very happy or convinced with that, with the quality of what I'm putting out. But you're forced to do that just because of the demands of this job, so to speak, right? Or the demands of the algorithm. Um, and so you hire these teams, a lot of them come from India, and the editing sometimes can be so horrible. And so like you make a video, say on the first of the month, and you have to go through several revisions with them, and possibly by the video's not ready till the 10th, 12th, 13th after gone through so many revisions and all kinds of stuff. And at that point, it's like you get distracted with other stuff and you don't even put out the video anymore, or you're not happy with the final output that you paid for, and you just get frustrated. You throw your hands up. I got videos that I shot months ago, and I just got frustrated with the teams that were handling the editing. I just walked away from all that content. Um, so that's another thing too, right? So it's sometimes the teams that are around you, just the editing just isn't good enough. And I'm not the editor, guys. I don't know how to use Premiere and all this crap. I don't know how to put up all these fancy things on the screen for you guys. Most I could do is CapCut. I can maybe put some captions or trim the right spots. That's about it. And to be honest with you guys, that's all I'm willing to learn, right? I'm not really. For me, I would like to know the message is clear enough, right? The message is clear enough, and you guys getting the information you need, right? And so that way, I'm not forced to be stuck with these teams that want to script and come up with the weirdest stuff that you're saying, and you don't even believe what you're saying on camera, but you're just doing it because you don't have the time. Um, or Chat GPT slop, right? You don't. I'm not saying you can't utilize Chat GPT as a tool, but 98% of what a lot of these influencers out there are putting out now, sadly, is Chat GPT fluff, AI fluff, and because we're forced to, because of the demands of the algorithm, right? And then another thing too, guys, another reason that it's caused me burnout and caused me to take a step back from content creation game is just the audience's expectations, right? And you guys, right? The expectations that you guys put on us could be so high, right? Some of you guys have known me from day one, and so you guys don't care if I even show up in a tank top and you don't care where I'm at with the setting. You're here for the information, right? But the average person that's never heard of me before, they come on my page, and even just this video right here, they're gonna see this video, and I'm not either sitting in a Lamborghini, I'm not in a Ferrari, or I'm not standing on one, or I'm not in a warehouse where there's a bunch of cars. They will immediately say he's a scammer, he doesn't do it, he's lying, and tune out, right? Just because, and that's the curse of my niche, right? That's the curse of my niche. The expectation is I always need to be in my warehouse shooting videos or need to be in a car around cars. And that could be tiring, right? I live an hour away from my warehouse. So on shooting days, I have to pack up, pack several changes of clothes, organize either for cameraman to meet me there, or I have to go take my lug of my stuff and set all that stuff up. And it's a lot of freaking work just to shoot content, right? Yeah, and so that expectation where you always have to be in character, so to speak, um, before people believe in you or your content, that's another barrier, right? That causes burnout and this causes at least me to not want to shoot because I don't always want to go to my warehouse. What if maybe I had other things to do on this side of town, right? So why should that cause you guys, uh, if the information isn't presented in a certain way to you, you just refuse it. And that's where I have issues also. And so that leads me to the second half of this video, right? So where am I now with my content? Um, to be honest with you guys, like I post consistently on YouTube, Instagram, right? Those are the only two platforms that semi like me. I mean, Instagram loves me, YouTube semi likes me, TikTok hates me. I could post a video that did 7 million on Instagram on TikTok and barely get 100 views. Uh, so those are the platforms that I'm most consistent on. Um, and unfortunately, guys, I'm just scared of being a slave for the algorithm, right? I'm just scared of it. I'm noticing too, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are too, right? Like just the way that the algorithm is manipulating us, and you're seeing all these things in the news and people being assassinated in public. All of that stuff is the result of the algorithm, right? Well, he didn't just find his way down that deep rabbit hole, right? And I don't want to get into controversial stuff, but a lot of that stuff is the social engineering by the algorithm is showing you a certain, certain stuff that starts to poison your mind or shape your thoughts and shape your beliefs and rearrange your mental models and into a certain direction, right? Test it out. You just start talking about something in particular, and you start to see it. The phones are listening and feeding it out. The next thing you know, that's all you see is that stuff reinforcing that thought and leading you down the rabbit hole. Right? That's why you see polarizing audiences now in the country, right? Could be so far right, so far left, and up every different direction, right? It's the algorithm moving people in a certain direction, right? So for me, that's my biggest fear is being a slave to that, right? Not only just with what I consume, but also in the pressure to constantly put out, even when I don't have anything to say, but I'm pressured because the algorithm says I must feed it, certain number of times per day. Otherwise, it won't reward me with views or attention, right? And so that's the number one issue that I still have, right? And I don't want to be that. Um, even my daughters, I have to even put my foot down with my kids, and my youngest, I had to take away her computer from her room, and like we got to cut down the device time because stuff. I don't know, y'all, but stuff is starting to. really impact families and things like that. And I don't want us to be another statistic. And so I'm fighting back against that, so to speak. Uh, and then the second thing is, I'm still learning also how to best serve you guys, um, and but also still serve myself at the same time, right? And what does that mean? Is that finding that the healthy balance, right? Where I'm able to still give you guys content and give you guys content and still in and on and edify you guys, but then me myself find joy and be edified, right? When the demands are so high, I find no joy in it, right? When I could make one video with all the relevant information, but because it doesn't look as fanciful as the next one that could take me 1 week to put or 2 weeks to put out, that's what I lose the joy in at all. All right. And if I could just if and then I say all of that, right, to say that at the end of the day, it's finding that right balance, but I'm still searching for that right balance where, the right amount of quantity or volume at the right quality, right? It's easy for me to create. At the end of the day, ease of creation is the most important thing for me. And then I can remain in my zone of creativity when I'm able to just quickly put it out, right? My zone of creativity or zone of genius is not in the editing and spending countless hours on CapCut or Canva or Adobe. I hate doing that stuff. It's a waste of my time. We have 5 businesses from it. It's a waste of my time. And so, guys, in wrapping this video up, I say all of that to say this, right? I'm asking you guys for permission. I'm asking my audience here today for permission. It's just to dial back on the quality or the quantity of the video, all right? To dial back, be able to dial back on the quantity of the video output, to be able to dial back on the quality of the video, right? You're not gonna see things popping up at you guys. You're not gonna see fancy B-roll. You might just see my mug. Right? There's not gonna be Lamborghinis behind me on every single video. If I happen to be in the warehouse, I'll whip out my phone and shoot one real quick happily. But you guys get that fixed. So those that insist on seeing it to believe me, right? But otherwise, guys, what I'd rather do instead is provide quality content, right? Spending my time also in the weeds of the rental business and the second I see we run into something, I would love to be able to just sit here, hit record on Zoom, film myself quickly, and put it out immediately. That would be the perfect scenario, right? Um, and then I can, with the joy of that, I'll put out a whole lot more. And so that's what I'm asking for you guys' permission today. So I want to hear back from you guys in the comments of this video. Let me know if I don't get a lot of comments I'll take it that you guys want to breathe to this, and maybe I'll just maybe slow down with the output of this. But I want to see comments. If I see that the engagement on this video goes a whole lot higher, I want to hear the yeas and the nays in the chat, and that would help me. Let me know where direction you guys want me going with this channel. And so looking forward to it. I hope you guys really understand. And thank you guys very much. And I'll see you on the next video.